This is Stacy Marshall with Printwear Magazine.
Brian Walker with RTP Apparel.
This is Matt Vassallo with the WritingStoneWorld.com.
Richard Greaves with ScreenMaking.com.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys
Podcast.
Hosted
by Terry Combs
and Aaron Montgomery.
All right. Well, welcome into the show today. It is September the 13th, Friday the 13th, and excited for a great day here. And my name's Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at aaronmontgomery.info. Terry is away today, as you can tell, but we've got excellent guests going to be joining you. In fact, you're going to be talking to them, not me. So I am really excited to get to that. Terry's away at the NBM show in Columbus, Ohio. And so we are excited to bring you guys this show today. We're going to be talking with Kristine Shreve, and she is going to be leading our roundtable. This is our third in the series, and we're going to talk about balance. And we have three other excellent young ladies joining us today that are going to help us bring these conversations to the world. So, before I get too much further along, I've got a couple people checking in here. And Terry says, "Happy birthday, Aaron. The number of candles on your cake does not make you old. It only indicates that it makes you the world a bit brighter as each year passes." So thank you very much, Terry. Yes, it is my birthday today, 45 years ago today, on a Friday the 13th, actually. So that probably gives you guys a lot of information about why I'm so weird and crazy. But so Friday the 13th. Cindy, good morning. Thank you for joining us. And we appreciate you checking in live this morning. And Evelyn, and we won't go on for too long here. But Eric is going to be checking in on the comments side of things today for us today. So Eric, thank you so much. And looking forward to having this great conversation. Balance and just kind of how these young ladies handle that in their day-to-day lives and careers. So really great stuff. All right. Well, like I said, we've got a ton of great stuff going on here, and want to get to everything here. So first off, I want to just thank all of our regular listeners, the regulators, and get that hidden. You can see it right down there. Regulators, you guys are awesome, and I can't wait to hear all your feedback today. Any new listeners turning in today, guess what? You're part of the regulators now. So thank you for joining us. We really love having you along, and we're having a blast. If you guys do have any ideas for future shows, we're always looking for that. We are just about ready to start our 8th season coming up here. So any information, topics, things you guys want to talk about really helps us continue to bring you the best content we can. So if you head over to the Contact Us page at 2 Regular Guys, that's the number 2 regularguys.com, or you can reach out to us on social media. We are all over the place there as 2 Regular Guys. Again, the number 2 Regular Guys. And if you are catching this via the Facebook Live, make sure that you are jumping in. I see all the comments and stuff like that. So I really appreciate you guys. Lenora says, "Hey, Aaron, another Friday the 13th. They're here, different month, but we're so special." Yes, we are, Lenora. Thank you. I love it. I love it when, so here, real quick, I'm going to go not way off. I'm just going to go slightly off on a side tangent here. Triskaidekaphobia is the fear of Friday the 13th, the fear of 13, really. And so every morning on my birthday, I get a text from my dad that says, "Happy non-Triskaidekaphobia Day." So there we go, Lenora. That's we're non-Triskaidekaphobians. All right. So again, jump in live. Let's have these conversations. I will be bringing these up in the background for the ladies to talk about, keep the conversation going, and looking forward to having all that. So not only am I the host to start the day here, but I get to do all the production in the background. So bear with me as we get everything popped up here. We do want to hear a word right now from our gold sponsor, Embrilliance. So let me get that popped into the, let's see here. We're going to add that to the stream. Perfect. All right, guys, here we go. Word from Embrilliance.
This episode of the 2 Regular Guys is brought to you by Bright and Leap, makers of the Reggie Award-winning Embrilliance embroidery software. Embrilliance is different. You don't need hardware dongles or to trade active seats for every user. One license lets you run every computer in your shop at once. Embrilliance runs natively on both Mac and Windows. Your single license lets you install on both platforms. Embrilliance is modular. If you only need customizing with lettering, sizing, and recoloring, you can get just that. Embrilliance's unique stitch processing tools even allow you to resize and improve expanded stitch files from digitizers or stock collections for faster running, lighter embroideries. If you decide you need fully featured digitizing, it's fast and easy to add powerful design creation tools to your system. You can start with any tool and build your ideal kit. All Embrilliance programs run standalone or work together in their unified platform. See the difference for yourself at Embrilliance.com. Two Regular Guys listeners can enter the exclusive code 2RG, that's the number 2RG, at Embrilliance.com/store for 10% off your entire purchase.
All right. Well, thanks very much to Embrilliance for their support of the show. And we do have other sponsorship opportunities available. So if you want to head over to the number 2 regularguys.com/sponsorship, you can check out the details there. And we're talking to several other folks. So we really appreciate all the support, but especially appreciate the support from Embrilliance. That code that they give you is awesome. So please use it and take advantage of that. And Eric has all sorts of comments about all of the awesome stuff they've got going on over there. So check that out. And not a lot of new stuff today that I wanted to share because there is such abundance of information that we've got here. But before we dive in with the guests, I want to go ahead and bring in Kristine and just have a quick conversation with her. So I'm going to see if I can get her there. Kristine, there we go. That was nearly instant. That's cool.
That was beautiful. I liked it.
Totally. So real quick before we bring on our guests here,
okay,
this is our third installment of this program.
Yes.
And out of, I think this, but other things that you've been doing within your community of the women of, I don't know, help me out with that part first. What are you guys calling this?
It is called right now Women in Garment Decoration, largely because I had a tough time figuring out how to quantify it, I guess.
Okay.
And it's open to any woman that is doing any kind of garment decoration, whether they're home sewers or they own a business or they screen print or they do rhinestones or whatever they're doing.
Okay.
We'd love to have them come and join us because it's a great group over there. We've got a really good start. And the one thing I do have to say, when we started the group, I asked the ladies who were there at the beginning, did we want to keep it women only? And they said, yes, they do. So that's why we wouldn't let you guys join when you asked.
I totally get it. And that's perfect. So okay, let's go back then just a little bit further to the creation of it. So this is a Facebook group, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it is a Facebook group. We'll get a link. I think we'll try to find a link and get that up, definitely in the show notes. But maybe Eric can track that down for us. What's it? It's called Women of Garment Decoration.
Women in Garment Decoration.
In garment decoration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so tell us how that started then.
It actually came about as a result of the last one of these that we did.
Okay.
We had talked about, hey, wouldn't it be cool if there was a group where women could get together and support each other and talk about these issues and all that kind of stuff. And I started thinking about it and I thought, well, I'm not going to wait for somebody else to start it. Mm-hmm. I'll start the group.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing the podcast and I started it and I thought, well, we'll see what happens. We're over 200 members now.
Wow.
And that's with very little publicity, really. I probably haven't pushed it as much as I need to. But that's just been word of mouth and people sharing it and letting other people know that it's there. And it's a great place. I mean, we do everything. We celebrate each other's successes. We talk about, how do you do certain things within your decoration discipline? We talk about issues that come up. We've had some really good conversations about, there's the, there it is.
Eric, producer Eric.
We've had some, and thank you, Eric, for finding that. We've had some really good conversations about stuff like women and how your appearance affects how you're perceived in the business world. How to deal with people who ask you for deals or favors or who think you're going to be a soft touch because you're female. All sorts of there. And I mean, there's also fun stuff and interesting stuff, but it's a really great supportive group of women who are really working, as you say, a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah.
They're really working to lift all the boats of all the women in the industry. And also talking about how do we work with our allies, men, who, guys like you and Terry and Eric and, a bunch of other people out there who are trying to work to make things better for everybody.
Sure.
So it's really a good group and I'm really proud of it.
Yeah, you should be. Good job by you. And yeah, this is again, tell us a little bit, I guess, about. I want to hear from you because I've got
Mhm.
my thoughts about when we got this started together. But you were certainly the driving force here. So tell us about starting. Well, we needed somebody that was going to be able to represent. We could say,
Right.
hey, we want to highlight the rock stars, these ladies,
Right.
but guess what the name of our show is, so
Yeah. Two regular guys.
exactly. So being able to kind of,
Two
bring that
regular
in.
guys and Eric and Kristine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We always thought you and Eric were just going to take over or start your own thing and get rid of us. So
Well, I mean, don't be too sure that Eric and I might start our own thing at some point. You never know. But
guess who'll be there to support you.
well, and we appreciate that. And you always have been very supportive, and it's been very appreciated. But the reason that I brought this up in the first place is I think I've told this story, and I'm not going to call out who it was because it doesn't really matter. But there was a conference out there, and all the speakers at the conference were male.
Okay.
And somebody called it out who was female and said, why aren't there any women on any of these, giving any of these lectures?
Yeah.
And the response was a little tone deaf. It was kind of like, well, women are coming. And it's like, yeah, but there's a big difference between attending and being presented as an expert.
Yeah.
And being presented as, your opinion matters.
Sure.
And so that was really so that's what started me on the idea. And then naturally I thought of you guys because, I've done the podcast several times, and I think you and Terry and Eric are certainly doing a lot to try to, with the decorators community and all the stuff that you're bringing out, you're doing a lot to try to really make the industry better.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, I'll present it to you guys and see what you think. And you like the idea. And so these podcasts were born.
Perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I appreciate
Well,
that.
thank you. I mean, you're giving me your platform. But happy birthday, by the way. I gave you a present. I'm making sure you don't have to do the podcast today.
It is a little bit like a day off, and I don't have
there you go.
I don't have to keep Terry in line. So that's
yeah. Well, see, double present there.
Double present. All right. Well, let's get to these guests because I know you guys have a great deal of stuff that you want to get to, and I want to make sure that we get to all that. So
and
I'm going to bring
get bonus time today.
You guys have as much time as you want. So
okay.
Whenever you guys have to go, we'll make that happen. But let me bring them all in here, and then we'll go around and have them introduce themselves, and then I will step out of the way. So let's see here. We'll get everybody on there. There we got everybody.
There's everybody.
All right, perfect. Well, Alexa, start us off. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get to Andrea and Kayla, and then, like I said, I'll step out of the way. So, Alexa, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Well, first of all, I'm extremely excited to be here. I think that this is going to be a great group, not only for women, but for men too, because obviously they can learn from it. But I'm owner of In-House Prints in Frenchtown, New Jersey.
Okay.
I do basically everything, but we consider ourselves a full service branding agency, and we focus on screen printing. So that's like our biggest pull-in.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, Andrea, on the screen, the way it rotates for me, you're the next one there. So, Andrea, welcome to the show. Again, Andrea's been on the Two Regular Guys several times. So, Andrea, can you tell people a little bit about yourself, please?
Well, my name's Andrea, obviously, and I am third generation in our family business. We have developed a business that started with home sewing machines and industrial sewing machines all the way up to now we work nationally and internationally with embroidery equipment and rhinestone equipment. But there's quite a bit of market that we cover besides just embroidery and rhinestone. And we've talked about this on other podcasts before. But my role in the company is kind of like Alexa. I do a lot of different things. Again, it is a family company, so I am very emotionally and just involved. And anyway, so my passion for what I do is that I love consulting and working and learning about the industry. I do everything from, education to getting ready for trade shows. So I wear a lot of hats in my business. And then I love working with people. I love doing trade shows because then I can get and see a lot of people. And one point I wanted to make to Kristine, you made a great point about, men in the industry, and we kind of, I see this changing, but in this industry, we kind of live in a man's world. There's a lot more men in the industry than women. And I'm talking about the back end manufacturing kind of side of where we are. But I thought it was great that you brought up that point. So I know I went beyond my introduction.
Well, you got to get me out of the way here. So
just one more thing that might help kind of show people my points of view when I talk is that not only am I full-time here, but I'm also a mother of 4. I have a wonderful husband. Yes. So balance, when I got these questions, I got very excited because it does. I have a lot to share with that.
Awesome.
Lots of balancing that you do.
Yes.
Yep. Awesome.
So,
all right. Perfect. Thanks, Andrea. Kayla, can you share a little bit about you, please?
Yeah. So my story is actually kind of similar to Andrea's, where I'm also 3rd generation.
Awesome.
The business I work for is Atlas Screen Supply. So we deal with screen printing supplies, equipment. We teach classes. Terry actually teaches our classes. But yeah, so you got to wear a lot of hats. So I handle the trade shows, graphic design, marketing, social media a little bit here and there. And yeah, so it's a plethora of things that you've got to cover. But yeah, as far as the work-life balance, I just recently went back to school. So I'm now juggling full-time with school. Just recently got engaged, so now we're trying to plan a wedding. So it's like there's a lot going on over here. But yeah, so I'm excited.
All right. Well, I'll tell everybody the truth about the classes that go on there. You said that Terry teaches them. Terry shows up. Kayla makes them happen. Kayla is the ones that really make the classes happen. So Terry's just I don't know, I'd say pretty face, but I don't like to lie to people. So. All right. Well, you guys are fantastic. I cannot wait to just take all this in. So I'm going to step out of the way. Kristine, it is all yours. And just give me the high sign when you guys are done, and I'll pop back in.
So 3 or 4 hours. Well, first of all, ladies, I want to say thank you so much for being here. It's wonderful to have such a great group. I'm so excited. And I want to just dive right in because we don't want to go on too much bonus time because then the boys get cranky. So the first thing I really want to talk about is just the first question that I sent you guys, which is, what does balance mean to you? Because I know I get accused of being unbalanced a lot because I work a ton. I write, and I also have a full-time day job. And I also did the whole school work thing too, Kayla. I got both my degrees while I was working a full-time job. So I understand the whole. So for me, balance is always kind of weird because I've always been very work focused, but that feels balanced to me. So what about the rest of you? Alexa, what about you? What does balance mean to you?
So obviously just in general, balance, when you think of it as like an even distribution almost, because you want to be balanced. So like the way that I kind of think about my life is, pretend you're on a balance beam and you're walking and you kind of get a little unbalanced, but then you bring yourself back. And I just feel like sometimes, it's myself, Tyler, my fiance, and I also recently got engaged. So again, the wedding planning thing can be so chaotic. And we have one other employee. It's just the 3 of us. And sometimes like it gets absolutely crazy where, I'm working 12, 14 plus hour days. And I'm like, okay, there's zero balance. It's 100% work because, we do everything we can to keep our clients happy. And that's just, it is what it is. So I think when it comes to balance for me, it's almost about prioritizing and making sure like the important things that have to get done. And then you kind of, put the other things on the back burner. Now, for some of us who have kids, like those are kind of a priority. So, if it's something with work that can wait until the next day, go make sure you pick your kids up from school. But for me, like, I'm young, I have no kids. Like, I'm not saying I don't have any responsibilities because I do. But when it comes to like prioritizing, yes, I agree with you. Like, work is definitely one of them. And, I see my friends every now and then just to make sure they're alive and we're good.
Friends? I remember a social life a little bit. Okay. Kayla, what about you?
I would agree with that. I think the standard of what we normally think of when we talk about balance is, an equal distribution, like you said.
Sure.
But I know some people that can't do that or don't want to do that. For them, working more is their balance. It's what keeps them sane. It's what keeps them happy. So I think to each individual, what your balance is your own equation that you have to work out.
I think that's very true.
And with that, I mean, for myself, I know I'm trying to progress in my career. I'm trying to progress by getting my degree. So through all that, that's my top priority. So it's really, what are your priorities and what makes you happy?
So balance can change based on what you're prioritizing at that particular. I think that's a very good point. Definitely. Andrea, with the 4 children, how do you balance everything?
I was talking to a friend today, and I have 3 of my 4 children are very active in gymnastics, meaning that they are competitive gymnasts. I just got
That's a lot of work.
I just got the meet schedule, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, how are we going to do this, and how are we going to balance everything out? So I thought, I was so excited to participate in this because I saw the questions. I was like, this is my life. These are the things that we have to think about. And, kind of going off of what Alexa and Kayla said is that it is your own equation. I am very passionate about what I do professionally. I'm also obviously very passionate about my kids and my family life. But what I have to do, and then I have another passion of, I have a passion of powerlifting, which is a whole other side of my life. But I have to make sure that I am making time for this. Otherwise, my sanity is gone. So, I think it is an equation, and I kind of take this from my father-in-law, is that we all have 100 points. Where we decide to distribute those points is kind of up to us. So, if I today have to do, 80 points in work and, 10 of, the rest of my life, then I have to distribute it that way.
Right.
The other side of it too is that I have a great balance of my husband, who, where we understand each other, and and that also coincides with the whole work-life balance. But you have to be, I think you have to understand where your passions should lie within that 100 points. So
this comment just came up. You guys can probably see it too. Dear Lord, Andrea, I have level 9 gymnast and I can't deal with just her. I have a level 9 gymnast and I can't deal with just her schedule. Ooh.
Well,
that's a lot.
Renee, I have a level 8, a level 6 girls, and then a level 4 boy. And then I have a 2-year-old at home. So
that's busy.
Yeah.
Well, this actually kind of leads us really nicely into our next question, which is, I did some reading for this podcast because obviously I need to be able to ask informed questions. And one of the things that I read is one of the biggest myths out there is that women can multitask and men can't, or women are better at multitasking than men, which is complete. I want to say a rude word, but I won't. It's not true. Let's put it that way. But women are still, it's kind of an accepted fiction that women can handle more stuff, or they can organize things better, or they can, if there's a meeting and there's a bunch of women and men in it, probably one of the women is going to be the person who's asked to take the minutes, or something like that. So I guess that's a question that I have in terms of how do you fight that perception a little bit of, women are better at this stuff. Are we better at it just because, or are we considered better at it because men don't really want to do it? Or are we considered better at it, or have we become better at it because we had no choice? Because we kind of had to be. So I don't know. Andrea, what do you think about that one?
Well, with multitasking here in my company, we're a smaller company, and with what I do, again, being third generation and being very, passionate about my company and wanting to see it succeed, I feel like I am better focused than others may be. I also am a type of person who is very self-motivated, and that if something can't be figured out, I figure it out, or try to at least. And that's one of the things that kind of ties into what I do professionally with my customers, is that something will be asked, a technique, a process, or whatever. I may not know the answer at that point, but then I go and find it out, because I personally am very motivated to seek out answers, and to, whether that means like at nighttime, like going on the internet and researching things that, I previously didn't know about, such as like programming and, computer stuff. But I feel, and with where I work too, it's only me and one other woman. So I am very excited about finding new things and finding, and really broadening my horizon. I always feel that there's something new to learn. Okay. So I think in that, I'm personally good at running a lot of different things. As far as multitasking within our company, I also feel that these, people that I work with, they have their set things that they do. And, but I tell you, I get people coming to me asking me for advice, but I think it's because I am very excited about figuring things out. I like to do that.
Right. So I think what I'm kind of trying to get at a little bit is where did this come from? Why is it so comfortable for people to assume that women can multitask and men can't?
Well, I think and just quick side note is that you also see women in families as mothers, and the mothers take care of everything. And I'll tell you, that's what I do. And I think it's because for me, now my husband is also full-time, he works full-time. He doesn't travel like I do, but I'm the one who kind of, makes sure, okay, this kid has to be here. This kid has to be here. This one has a doctor's appointment. This one, this one, I also feel that as a woman, I have a intuition that my husband doesn't have on the kids. I have gut feelings that happen, like if a kid's sick, I'm like, okay, this is it. And it's not that he's not in tune with our kids. It's just one of those like motherly things that appear. So I think there's the stigma of multitasking because you think of women and families, and that's what women do is they have a job, they take care of the kids, they take them everywhere, they coordinate everything. So I think that's where the stigma comes from. As far as in the workplace, I do a lot of multitasking, but I think it's more because I allow it, because I'm very passionate about figuring things out and knowing how to do things. So
okay, that leads to an interesting point that Alexa brought up that I really wanted to make sure that we got to, which is, how do you not allow that? How do you say no and not, and I think that's whether it's because of cultural issues or whatever it is. So, Alexa, you asked the question. So let's start with you. How do you success? I know that's something that I've struggled with over the years, where I kind of want to be nice and you don't want to be, you don't want to be a problem. And somebody comes in and says, oh, can you just do this one thing for me? It'll really help. And you're like, okay, Yeah. So since you brought up the point, let's start with you.
So I kind of feel like there's two contributing factors. I think that sometimes women are afraid to say no because, yes, there is some magical like pressure that's put on women. And, if you say no, I feel like you're almost seen like you're not strong, because you're just like, yeah, no, I can't do that. And then the other thing is that women are sometimes too compassionate. You know, being, obviously I'm engaged. I love Tyler very much, but like sometimes it's like, okay, like I don't agree with you on that, but it's very like, no, like that's what it is. And sometimes I'm afraid to be like, well, no, like it's not, but I'm like, okay, like, yeah, you're right. Let's just do this. And so I think the combination of being afraid to say no and being like more direct with whether it's like a response or, you know, your actions, I think that kind of contributes to it, because multitasking is literally just doing a bunch of small tasks, not at the same time, because you physically cannot do that,
Right.
but in a short period of time. So, you know, in my morning, what I like to do is I write 2 lists, and they're short, because if you make them too long, you get overwhelmed and whatever. So I have 2 lists, like AM and PM. So what I do is I'm like, okay, I have 5 things that I have to do this morning. And, you know, I finish that list, and then I kind of move on to some other things. And then when it comes to the afternoon, I go to that list and I complete those things. But if someone comes to me, and I literally just did this week, and they're like, hey, I need this item and I need to buy this date. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. Like, I got this. But then sometimes you just have to sit back and you're like, you know what? I have so many other things on my list that I'm afraid that I'm not going to complete them today. Like, you just have to say no. And it's not necessarily a sign of weakness, because if you say yes and then you don't complete the job in time, that's so much worse. So like what we like to say, you know, under promise and over deliver. So if you're really tight on a deadline, just tell them, be like, listen, this is really not feasible. And, you know, yes, you might lose a customer, but you're not going to lose that like 5-star Google review because you said no to a job that was a rush, and, you know, it's just not feasible. So I just feel like women, yes, they multitask, if you want to call it that, but they also just take on a lot of work. Like you were saying, like, you just have to have like a really great balance of that. And I think Tyler and I work well together, where I'll be sitting at the desk and he'll look at me. He's like, can I do something for you? And I'm like, yes, like, please, like, I have this art that has to be done. Can you email this person? And, you know, sometimes he's emailing from my email pretending to be me, but that's fine, because as long as your customer is getting that answer, like as fast as they want it, that's fine. But going back to like saying no, like, you just have to say it. It's not a bad thing, because you don't want to, you know, upset anyone. But yeah, I mean, women multitask, men multitask, everyone can multitask. It's just about how good you are at it. Because sometimes I even struggle with that, where, you know, I'll start a task, but I won't complete it. But then I'll move on to the next one and I won't complete it. So really, like, multitasking, like, yes, it's a thing, but you just need to focus on one project at a time and complete that project. And then that just kind of keeps everyone happy. And again, it goes back to prioritizing. Just make sure that you're doing the most important thing first, and then you move on to the next one.
Right. Well, I think one of the things that you said that I find interesting is the whole pushback thing. Like, you say no to somebody and you get, oh, come on. Can't you help me out? Can't you be nice? Can't you, you know? And I wanted to address that too, because I don't notice that happening to guys as much. You don't get the pushback with, or I don't know, maybe
this
it
just
does.
made me think of something. So we have a client that we've been working with for years, and, you know, our minimum order for screen printing is 24 pieces because it takes time. And so for me to print 12 shirts, like, it just, I'm not saying it's not worth it, but my time is very valuable. Like, your time's irreplaceable. You can't buy time. So I had a client reach out to me, hey, like, I want 12 shirts. And I'm like, yeah, no, like, our minimum order is 24 pieces. Now, this person knows Tyler and I are the same company. They then reached out to Tyler and asked if they could do it. And you want to know what happened? He said yes. So I'm like, okay, now you're making me look like, you know, but I think that people feel like they'll reach out to the female first because they're more compassionate, but they don't know me. If I can't do the job, I can't do the job. So I said no, and then they reached out to Tyler, and he said yes, because apparently he's a little more compassionate than most guys. And, you know, but we kept their business. We kept them happy. It is what it is, but it's also about, like, that whole role of a female. Like, if I said no, like, you shouldn't have gone to Tyler and said, can you do this? Like, I'm the one that has to create the invoice and send it to you, so I know what happened when there was that conversation. So I like
kids playing off mom, dad, and mom.
I was thinking, I'm like, just wait till you have kids. I'm sure.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Well, I know to always go to my dad. Like,
yeah, there you go.
My mom, I get that from her. She'll say no, my dad will say yes.
But I think it's interesting that, and the whole pushback thing, and we saw that while you were talking, Alexa, there were a bunch of comments coming up of people saying, I need to learn how to say no better, or I need to. And one of the things I want to ask, and Kayla, I think I'm going to ask this one to you first, is saying no like building a muscle? I mean, do you have to just learn to keep doing it even though it feels uncomfortable?
Absolutely. That's something that I severely struggled with when I started here. And, working in a small to a medium-sized business, working in a small to medium-sized business, you already have way more than enough on your plate. You're already trying to get that, that giant amount done. And now people are adding on left and right, and you have to learn to say no. For me, I started out being afraid to say no because I didn't want to be, viewed as like the B word, like,
you can say bitch, it's okay.
I don't know. But I'm like, I don't want to be viewed as a bitch, or, oh, she's not willing to help me out. She's not a team player. And it's not that. It's just that I've already got a stack of other things, and half of those are probably things that I've already promised other people to get done. So you have to look at that and change things around for what fits. But as far as saying no, what helped me is realizing if I say yes to this person, I'm going to be letting someone else down, because there is only so much time in a day. So I had to say no, and I have to say, hey, look, kind of like what Alexa said, is state why. I'm not saying no to be unreasonable.
Go, Evelyn.
Yes, flex that muscle. But yeah, I think that's kind of what it comes down to is flexing your muscle, your no muscle.
Yeah. And I think through the years of what I've learned and have matured as not only a person but a business person, saying no is okay. Saying no there's a saying no the wrong way and saying no the right way. And when you say, yeah, absolutely. And when you say no and you explain yourself, there's a lot of understanding that happens. And a lot of that stigma of being, as we call it, the lady dog, kind of goes away because of the way that you explain yourself. And I think people are reasonable enough to understand. The other day I had to say no to a coworker about something. I said, no, this is what is on my plate. I don't want to commit to this and fall through because of my other priorities that are happening. And I think people appreciate that. As long as you're honest with people and you're telling them exactly, and it's like, look, I don't want to say no because I want to say no. I'm saying no because of this. And again, people are a lot more reasonable when you can't explain yourself. And then if they're going to give you trouble, you know what? As we tell our kids, they're not filling your bucket, so you can do without them, So yeah, and it's one of those things and that's what I have to do with my kids. It's the same thing. If I say no to say no, guess what? Why? But if you explain it logically to them,
they get it.
It's going to make sense.
Well, there's two other things that I want to make sure we get to before we're done here. So I'm going to move on to the next thing, which is something that I find very interesting. So I wanted to discuss it, which is the fact that, and I don't know if this is because women are the ones that deal with children often, but it also seems like women are often made responsible for the emotional life of their particular companies or families or groups or whatever it is. I mean, I know, like, I'm on the board for my condo association, and I feel like I'm the mom. I get in there and I make sure that everybody has their minutes and that they have all the paperwork they're supposed to have and all this stuff. And I listen to everybody's little complaints about whatever. And I'm like, I don't have children. How did this happen? So I want to talk about that a little bit and where that comes from, and how you can, I don't really know if avoided is the right word, but how, if that's a responsibility you don't want, you can kind of get out from under it. And I'm going to throw this one to you, Kayla, just to start with. Is this something that it's something as simple as, like, if you have a birthday party at your office, who usually brings the cake? It's usually a woman.
Yeah. Well, yeah, normally when we do, I was gonna say, I'm not, 100% familiar because it doesn't fall on me, but to be fair, it does fall on a woman in the office. And she's the one who organizes our Christmas parties. She's the one who organizes any potlucks or any, like, internal company events or things that we do. And I think, honestly, for us, it's just kind of like, because she's the office mom, like, if you need something or you need to know where something is, she takes care of it. She's very good at handling that kind of stuff. So I think that's why it happens to fall on her. I mean, again, we said with the multitasking, that women are not necessarily better at it than men, but I've found a lot of the men to be not as practiced, maybe, is what it is.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I don't know that we could trust one of them to plan something like that in the office, or we'd be eating bread,
Yeah, a Christmas party with, nobody remembered to bring anything, but...
They'd remember whiskey, I'm sure, but
they'd remember if you had booze. They'd remember the booze, but nothing else. But I just wonder where I guess, and I don't really like saying it this way, but I don't really know. I'm kind of trying to figure out why guys get a pass on this and women don't. That's kind of weird.
It kind of goes back to that, like, compassionate thing and, like, the motherly instinct. Like, she said, oh, we have, like, an office mom. Like, every job that I've worked at, there's been an office mom. It's never been a guy. It's never been an office dad. And, they've come up with that term, like, Mr. Mom. Like, you've never heard of Mrs. Dad. Like,
no,
that's not a thing. So I think it just really comes down to that compassionate part of women. Not to say that guys aren't compassionate, because they are, obviously, but we show our emotions more. Okay. Whatever, like, that's fine. But I know plenty of women that, like, stone cold face, no emotion. And that's probably just how they were brought up. But yeah, I think it really goes back to women technically being more compassionate, and, like, that motherly instinct kicks in, even if you don't have kids. Because, like, I sometimes I feel obligated to do things, and I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, what kind of, like, what joy is this bringing me, stressing myself out over all of this? But it just really does. Like, women are just seen as, compassionate and kind of, again, like, afraid to say no.
I think that's true. Yeah. Andrea, did you have something you wanted to say?
I did. I'm sorry.
Don't apologize.
Well, everything that you're saying resonates obviously very well within my life, just because of, my personal, family and all that stuff. But when I received these questions, one of the things that really intrigued me was the way that women and men, how they are emotionally. And I was kind of researching a little bit, and it was, the internet has, everything is true on the internet. So, but one thing really, really struck me as kind of cool, because I do feel like this is true with people that I'm surrounded by, but men internalize emotion. Not saying that they just keep everything inside, but women talk a lot about emotion. We are there to, express how we feel, but men more internalize it. So I feel that, with us being more external about it, we're trusted more with those types of things. The other thing is that, and on my side, I enjoy doing that kind of stuff. I travel with all men for these trade shows, and I have to, like, I'm the show mom. I have to take care of, like, where are we going to dinner, renting the car, like, and it's kind of funny because I'll drive a minivan full of, like, 7 dudes, and it's kind of fun because if they'll make a comment, there was one time, and sorry to go off topic, but there's one time we were driving and some guy made a comment and I just slammed on the brakes. I go, what? And oh, they were not happy because it's just a bunch of dudes, in a minivan like this. But anyway, I do think too that women are, again, more external emotionally, and that, a lot of times men just don't get excited about certain things that we do. Like I get excited about, like, maybe we do a birthday party thing, and I'll do something stupid or, kind of, just to lighten the emotion around there.
Right.
So,
Right.
so I think too that we like doing that more than men, because men, again, they don't have an opinion, and I'm putting out a blanket statement, so I apologize, but most men that I know don't put out an opinion about where we're going to dinner, or what we do for the birthday party or anything like that. So I don't know. I just think that we're more external than men, and I think that's why we handle more of that stuff.
But here's the thing, like, I don't want this to seem like, oh, men don't do anything.
Oh,
like,
no, and that's not where
you know
I'm
what I mean?
going.
Like, because so the way that like we work here is I'm mostly upfront. I do go into production quite often, but we just balance each other out where it's like, okay, I'm going to do all this client relation stuff, but you stay back in the shop all day and print shirts. And I won't see him all day. And people will be asking me questions to ask Tyler. I'm like, why don't you just text him? They're like, well, aren't you with him? I'm like, yeah, but like he's doing what he needs to do and I'm doing what I need to do. So when it comes to like you said, like renting the car and, planning a party, if women didn't do it, would it necessarily get done? Maybe not, but that's not necessarily because they don't want to do it, but they're more focused on other tasks at hand. And that's not a bad thing. So as long as the work is getting done, we're good. Do we absolutely need the birthday cake? No. Do we want it? Yes. Like, so it's, yeah, I mean, this isn't like a male bashing party.
Oh,
by any
no.
means.
And that's
What are the
something,
guys watching right now? We love you. Thank you so much.
well, that's something that I've said since the very beginning about this was never intended to be men are evil, men are bad, men aren't doing. It's just talking about how we operate in the world as women. And some of that is necessarily going to be, why don't men do some of this stuff? And I think that actually leads kind of nicely into the last question that I really wanted to go into a little bit, which is a lot of this just cultural? Yeah. Are men taught that, they're supposed to protect their families and they're supposed to provide for their families and all that kind of stuff, and they're not really taught as much about the emotional stuff? And women are more taught they're supposed to be caretakers and they're supposed to look after people and they're supposed to care about emotions and sometimes at the expense of themselves, caretake others. I mean, I know just from, my own experiences that there have been times when I've been caretaking other people and kind of neglecting myself, but I was getting a lot of kudos for doing it. So it was like, this is important and I need to do it. And I wasn't doing it because I didn't want to, but I wasn't really aware of the cost to myself, I guess. So I'm kind of wondering, is this just a cultural thing? And Kayla went, yes, as soon as I said it. So.
Well, that's part of what I was thinking about kind of throughout this entire conversation is I think that at the root of everything we've talked about, it can be led back to tradition, is what the women's place as far as gender roles, what our place typically was and what their place typically is, And I think now that's starting to evolve and it's starting to change. And, as far as men not being as open or talking about their emotions, I know that, for my fiance, his family would, his dad would be like, we don't talk about that. We don't cry, we, tough it up. We're men. Whereas I was never told that. I was told it's okay to cry, tell me how you're feeling, it's you're raised completely differently. And I think when you get older, all that that's obviously still there. So that's what we're responding to, and that's how we're reacting to things. So yeah, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Okay.
I think Kayla has a great point on how we're taught. My family, I think, is amazing. And my father was one to be very caring about the about other people. You know, he was just telling me a story the other day. He saw, it was very, very cold, and he saw a couple that was like walking along a busy road with a baby. He pulled over and helped them out and took them somewhere. I think that, you know, and I think that's a very passionate and caring thing to do. Something that a lot of people probably wouldn't expect for a man to do it over a woman. You know, I would expect a woman to pull over before a man would. Anyway, also on my husband's side, he was also taught, you know, very compassionate, you know, being very compassionate. So I believe it's not only, you know, I think it's more in your family dynamic and how you're taught. There's going to be a part of it that is cultural, the stigma that is shown to us by other people that say, you know, boys don't cry, you know, blah, 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 blah. But as we move forward as a society, we see more and more of that changing. So there's a combination there.
Okay. Alexa, what do you think?
I grew up with my mom not working, and my dad was the only one working, obviously. And I have an older brother, and we never, I never saw my dad as like the breadwinner or anything like that. But my dad does laundry like more than my mom. And like, I know if I accidentally leave my clothes in the dryer, if they're folded and on my bed, it was my dad, because my mom's making dinner, or, you know what I mean? So when I grew up, like, or how I grew up, it was kind of like a balance. It wasn't as far back as like, oh, women don't work and they make dinner, they clean the house. And when the husband gets home, the food is on the table and that's it. Like, I came from an Italian background. So like my grandma, we talk about it, like my great grandfather would not touch anything. Like he was the king of the house. He's a nice person, but he was king of the house. So it's like, you would never see him in the kitchen. You would never see him doing laundry. And I think that it's just like this stereotypical like housewife. And, you know, again, like it goes back to that Mr. Mom thing. It's like, that's not a thing. Like now I think it's slowly switching or becoming more balanced where, you know, men do share the tasks that women do. And like, again, Tyler and I have agreed on that when we start to think about having kids, like, I'm not working. I'm not doing it because that's what women are supposed to do. I'm doing it because like, I can't wait to have kids and I can't wait to raise my kids. Will I email and everything like that? Yeah, I'll still be doing that, but I won't be in office as much. It's very hard to see some people still struggle with that, because you almost be like, why don't you just not do that for him or her?
Right.
Like, and for someone, again, they were afraid to say no. So it's just, you know, it's tough because it's that stereotype of seeing the woman as like a housekeeper kind of thing. And for me, like I'm fortunate enough that I never experienced that, where I have an awesome relationship with my parents. And like, again, my dad does laundry, but he'll also work on cars with me. Like, it's just it's like, I consider it normal. But like with my grandparents and everything, like it wasn't. Like, women do all the housework. They do the dinner. Like, they take care of the kids. Like, my parents, both of them were at every single sport that I did, or I was really into music and I wrote and sang and wrote all my like songs, and they never missed anything. Both of them though. Like, I can't remember a single time where like my dad wasn't there or my mom wasn't there. It was, they literally are like 50-50. Like, they're always there and it's a complete balance.
Well, I think one of the things that you said that maybe will be a good note to kind of wrap this thing up on is the whole thing of judgment. Like, why, and it also goes back to what we were talking about at the beginning, what balance means to the individual. Why can't you pick the life that works for you and decide that that's what you want to do? If you want to stay home with your kids, you stay home with your kids. If you're like me and you never really wanted to have kids and you want to work, do that. You know, but there's a lot of, I still get people, I turned 50 this year. I still get people who walk up to me and go, don't you miss it that you never had kids? Doesn't that bother you? I'm like, no, I had other things I wanted to do. That was a choice that I made. But you get a lot of judgment that, women are supposed to do this or men are supposed to do this. So I think that's maybe the question that I want to kind of end on is, how do we combat that judgment? Is it just doing stuff like this? Is it having discussions like this? Is it having discussions with the men that we know about stuff like this? Is that how we do it?
So I feel like I have a lot to input on this.
Okay.
I think it's the way of teaching people around us and teaching our future about what we want to do and, who we are. For example, in my household, my husband cooks dinner. I do the laundry. That's just something that, kind of fell onto us. I'll cook dinner every once in a while, but he's the one who picks up my son from daycare, goes home and starts dinner. I'm the one who does other tasks, and maybe that's balanced with me like coordinating everything. So I feel that our roles in the house are very non-traditional in that, like I'll go out and I'll fix things on his car, where he doesn't know anything about it. And it's not because he doesn't want to, it's because he just wasn't raised that way. I was raised with very hands-on. There's five kids in my family, 2 older brothers and a younger brother and a younger sister. I was raised very hands-on. My husband was not. So I think as a mother, as a professional, I have to teach my kids, 1, you do what you want to do. 2, there are times where I have missed things in my children's lives, but I have to explain to them, like, if I don't do this for you, or if I don't do this, which is for you, giving you what you want and what you need and what, you're excited about, it's not that I want to miss it, but I'm doing this for you. I'm not missing it because, work's more important. That's not it, So instilling that in my children's brain and like having them understand and being their best, cheerleader too. I feel that, teaching our children, teaching the people around us, by having these discussions that we are not in these traditional roles anymore. And we are people, we are passionate about what we do, and everybody's different. I feel that's how it is. And raising, we chose to have 4 children. It's, people are like, you're crazy. It's like, well, I guess I am, but that's what I wanted. So, it's, again, it goes back to the balance thing, is like, what do you prioritize and how do you balance it? Maybe 20% is this, maybe 30% of this, and, so on and so forth. But we figure it out. And I always tell people, how do you do it all? And I always tell them, like, I live hour by hour,
Yeah.
and I still make time for myself because it's important to me. So there's my 2 cents.
All right. Well, same question, Kayla. How do we reverse this?
I think that it again, what Andrea said is it comes with teaching. Teaching both the next generation and people around you, and also standing up for yourself and being able to speak and say what you want to say and not be afraid to be judged, in order to kind of break that cycle of things as well.
That's a good point.
So you kind of have to take a little bit of a chance and put yourself out there. But I think also doing, podcasts or things like this, and also for, like ThreadX is more of a screen printing conference, but I had mentioned several women that I thought would be great speakers for that, and kind of put my 2 cents in of why they would be a great speaker. And I think that's kind of what we have to start doing, is start pushing each other up as well in this industry to be able to do that.
Right. Okay, Alexa, same question to you, since I've thrown it to everybody else. And if there's anything new to say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not really going to repeat much, but it really does go back to like how you were raised, because I just think about how I got to where I am, and my mom she just has instilled this like empowerment in me where it's not like, oh, like women are awesome, we rule, like boys suck, but it's like you're just as good as everybody else, if not better. And if you really want to do something, you can do it. And like, again, not to go on a side tangent, but one of your other podcasts, you had mentioned about sharing too much information.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to share it, because if they wanted to do it, they would have already have done all the research and figured it out on their own. But here you are, like, you're doing a kick-ass job of having, whether you own the company or you're working with someone, like you are where you are because you're a hustler and that you work as hard as you do. So I don't think that being a woman has stopped me from doing anything. If anything, it's helped me, because I don't consider myself like a lot of other women, especially my age. So I'm going to be 30 soon. And I think a lot of specifically women my age just kind of fall into the, I have to go to college and I have to go get a job and I'm going to work in like a corporate company, which is totally fine, because if that's what you want to do, then do it. But I didn't want to sit at a desk all day. That was not like what I wanted to do. I wanted to have the freedom to go to a doctor's appointment and not have to call like my work to make sure that was okay. So I think that, and like, but that's the thing, like, it's so terrible because like when I do get pregnant, if I was working for a corporate company, how many times do I have to take off to go to those doctor's appointments? Having 4 kids, how much time off would you have to request if you didn't have like that power to be like, hey, like, I need to go to the doctor. See ya. Like, it's just, you really just need to be confident in yourself. And someone said that, Lenore, she said, isn't it about being confident in yourself? Absolutely. I don't want to say don't take any crap from anybody, but just know your worth and understand that like your time is just as valuable as everybody else's. And if you want to do something, like, you can do it. Now that this has turned into like a motivational speech, but it's the truth. Like, I don't think that being a woman or not being a woman should like stop you from doing something.
Right.
And like the whole saying no thing, like, just say no. Like, it's not a bad word. Like, you can say it and just use it when it's appropriate. And again, like, say it properly. Don't just say no. Don't give an explanation. Don't be rude.
Don't say I'm sorry, but no.
Yes, don't apologize.
Don't apologize. That's a good one.
I do it, and I do it all the time. I say I'm sorry, but really, I'm not sorry, because I'm just doing my job. This is what I'm getting paid to do. I'm getting paid to be honest with you and let you know like whether I can or can't do a job.
Right.
I'm sure.
Go ahead.
Sasan from 1 in a Million always gets mad at me when I say I try. He's like, don't say you try. Just say that you're doing it. And it's so true, because how many times was someone like, oh, like, you're doing such a great job. And you're like, yeah, I tried. Like, no, I wake up at 5:30 in the morning every day so that I can be at work at 6 or 6:30 so that I can stay until 10 o'clock at night. Like, no, you're not trying. Like, you're killing it. So
own it.
So don't
take
apologize and don't saying that you're trying, because you wouldn't be here if you weren't like actually doing the work.
And that you would have been great on our self-promotion. All right. Well, Aaron, we are on bonus time now. And Aaron just said, let's do the smiling screen capture. You can call it out on the show. So everybody smile and look cute. And we'll do a screen capture. Okay, here we go. And hopefully somebody got it. I think so. All right.
Do you mind if I just say one quick thing?
Go, Andrea.
So, about these, the gender roles, I have an unbelievable husband who also takes off his work schedule to do stuff for the kids. If I'm busy, he respects that. And I respect his time that he has to spend at work. And there are times where he will take off early because I can't, and he will bring his work home. And, as long as you're open and honest about, what you need to do, I think, and if you work in a great, company culture, they should be able to understand that. So I feel like the gender roles of men and women taking care of their children are completely changing. And then number 2, when people say, how do you do it? How do you, you're doing a really good job or whatever. My answer is, yeah, I work hard for this. And it's completely honest. I'm not going to say, well, I don't know, or like kind of gloat in the whole thing. People are like, wow, you're doing really well. And it's like, yeah, I work hard. I work very hard for what I do. And I just don't even, I'm very forward. And I feel like as I've aged, I really kind of, make sure that I'm more forward than trying to hide certain things and put myself out there, as well as, just being frank with people. I think people appreciate that.
Well, and I will say that too. Age makes a difference, because when I was in my 20s and 30s, I was much more tentative than I am now. Now I'm like, oh, I'm done, people.
I do that sometimes too.
Yeah, but I think I had to grow into that. Maybe I had to get some accomplishments under my belt and stuff. And then I felt like, you know what, I have a right to my own reputation, and I have a right to stand my own ground, I guess. And that came for me, at least, with age. So I mean, I'm assuming probably I'm the oldest one in this little panel, but that's
yeah, I just turned 40 this year.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So
Alexa, I think you need to make a shirts that just say "Own it."
I can do that for sure.
I like that. I do like that, definitely, because I think that's a big problem for a lot of women, is just owning their own accomplishments and owning their right to kind of speak up for themselves. You make me all so happy. Lenora, I am totally a saint being in an HOA board. You have no idea. You have really no idea. But that just made me laugh, because I have no children. I have not a mom gene in my body, but I still do it. Own it. There we go. Yep. Thanks, Renee.
Absolutely.
That's good.
There you go.
Right. And here is our man, the token man for today.
Yeah, that's right. I love it. I love being a part of this. You guys are fantastic, amazing.
Yes.
Before I let you all get out of here, and I'm going to start with Kayla. Kayla, tell people where they can find you, connect with you, with Atlas. Tell us a little bit about where to find Atlas Screen Supply.
Atlas Screen Supply, you can go to, atlasgreensupply.com if you're looking for supplies. If you want to contact me directly, feel free to reach out through my email. So that's just Kayla, my name, Kayla, at atlasgreensupply.com.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Andrea, how about you? Where can people connect with you?
So you can go to zskmachines.com, which is our website. You can also reach out to me directly at Andrea@zskmachines.com, which is Andrea. I think it's right up there on the screen.
Yep.
And then also our office number is 877-724-6400. So thank you.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Andrea. Alexa, you said the social media stuff. I've been kind of trying to do some stuff in the background here, but nowhere close to as killer as you do. So where can people connect with you?
So email alexa@ihprints.com if you guys have any questions. I'm an open book. ihprints.com. You can do our Instagram. It's in_house_prints. Or my personal screen printing is Life of a Female Screen Printer. I hope some of my followers are watching. If not, you're all in trouble. But yeah, I get questions all the time, like random things, whether it's ink or apparel. And I'll post it on my page, and it's basically like a poll, and people will answer. So if it's something that I don't know and I can't do the research for at the time, I can just post it to my followers, and then I can get you guys some answers back.
Sweet.
Awesome.
That is great stuff. Kristine, how about you?
Nmart, www.mynmart.com. We have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter page, we have Pinterest feeds. We're on Instagram now. On Instagram, we're my Nmart, just because Nmart was already taken. Various industry magazines. I show up in the comments on the Two Regular Guys podcast on a regular basis, and I am the one who named the regulators.
That's right.
Would like that clearly
That's
on
awesome.
the record.
It is very clearly on the record. We got to figure out how to get that under hashtag by Kristine Shreve. So.
Well, actually, I'm thinking about getting a new podcast done, so maybe I'll just get a new headshot done. That's what I was trying to say. Maybe I'll just get a shirt that says regulators and wear it in my headshot.
There you go.
Will you wear chains around too?
Yeah, there you go. I'll get some temporary tattoos. It'll be a thing. It'll be great.
Nice. And then Kristine, one more plug for the Facebook group for the ladies that would like to join
Women
that.
in Garment Decoration is the Facebook group. We already had some people join while the podcast has been going on, so I'm very excited about that. Please come join us. We're a great group. All the ladies that are on this screen are now in the group, so definitely come and talk to us. We'd love to have you.
Awesome. All right, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day. And we hope to talk to you guys all again soon.
Thanks,
Thank
Erin.
you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody. Wow. Are you guys as pumped up, excited? I see some comments here. Great show. Thank you all. Perfect. And Eric says, Kristine, you slipped with our new podcast again, Kristine. So yeah, we're gonna have to talk about this. No, I'm just kidding. If they come out with a podcast, I will be the first one supporting them, and I will be their biggest fan and listener. So wow, guys, I'm not sure I've got a whole lot else to kind of wrap this up. I just actually wanted to stand out of the way. This group of ladies, fantastic. They're still hanging out in the lobby section here. So I will email over the picture, screen capture I got. I don't know if you guys will probably think it's great, hopefully. So yes, Lenora, this was quite the birthday gift. Definitely a perfect way to put that and to close that out. All right. Well, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor, ACE Transfer Company, and then I will wrap up a couple of things, and we will get on our way here today. Tons of excellent bonus time, well worth every single minute of it. So let me, again, doing a few too many things at one time, but let me put this up here, and we will hear a word from ACE.
Have you been looking to grow your business or start one in the garment decoration industry? After all, that's why you're listening, right? ACE Transfer Company is located in Springfield, Ohio, and we've provided our customers with high-quality transfers, competitive prices, and great customer service for nearly 30 years. ACE Transfer Company offers a wide variety of garment decoration services, including screen-printed transfers, contract screen printing, direct-to-garment or DTG, dye sublimation, signs, banners, heat transfer vinyl, pressure-sensitive vinyl, and more. Use your own designs or have our in-house artists assist you in creating eye-catching transfers. At ACE, we are dedicated to helping your business succeed, so print your vision at ACE. For more information, visit our website, acetransfercompany.com. Send us an email at acetransco@gmail.com. That's ACETRANSCO@gmail, or give us a call at 800-525-3126.
All right. Well, thank you very much to ACE Transfer Company for their support of the show. Make sure to check them out and tell them you heard about them from the two regular guys. And let me get to some other comments here. Evelyn says, Aaron, they killed it. Absolutely, they killed it. Unbelievable. I'm still, like I said, my heart's pounding. I'm excited. I think, for me, as Kristine had mentioned, it really is about raising the tide and being able to sit back, take it all in. Obviously, I'm part of the two regular guys, so we're sitting here listening to this feedback, and it's fantastic feedback. It's hey, we got to think about things in a certain way. That way we can all get better. So I love it. I cannot wait. I think it's December 6th that we're going to have Kristine back again for another great episode, and I can't wait to get to that. So let me see. Got a couple other things, and yep, I screwed that up. Kristine, she was planning debrief. All right, well, all good. Let's see here. What do I got coming up? Let me fill in what Terry's happenings here real quick. He says he's going to be part of the DTG Academy at Equipment Zone in Franklin Lakes, New Jersey on September 19th through the 20th. So it looks like he's going from Columbus on up to New Jersey. And then he's got his upcoming screen printing business course happening with the good folks over at Atlas Screen Supply at their Nashville location on October 26th through the 27th. So just head over to atlasscreensupply.com and get registered for that. He will be hanging out with the folks at Workhorse Products on November 2nd through 3rd in Phoenix, Arizona, and wrapping up the year in Chicago with the good folks at Atlas again. November 16th through the 17th. And you can find all of his happenings there at the tab tour dates at terrycombs.com. So looking forward to that. Things for me. Tomorrow, I've got my Small Business Saturdays, and I'm reading over here so I get everything. I've got my Small Business Saturdays happening over at my Facebook page, facebook.com/aaronmontgomery.info. And I am welcoming in a friend of mine from the Success Principles Train the Trainer group that I'm in. And we're going to be talking about being a part of the greater good. So she's actually doing some stuff with foster kids and teaching success principles and things like that. So it'll be kind of business adjacent. And I'm really excited about this because she's doing some cool things. And I just want to kind of share with the world what she's doing. So that'll be happening tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. And then I've got my webinar coming up here November 11th. And if you go to aaronmontgomery.info/marketing, you can sign up for that. I've already got quite a few signups, and it will be limited. So I think we're about 15 right now and limiting it to 50 seats. So use the code regulator, no S, just regulator, to save $25 on that. And then the other exciting part, that thing that I'm working on, is the launch of the decorators community. And I'm working on this with Terry and Eric and a bunch of great people, just kind of trying to figure out A, what it is, and B, what it's going to look like and stuff like that. So we've got our values. I've got them posted up on the wall up here, from community to accountability to solutions, invest in success, significance, self-belief, generosity, abundance. All of those are our values for what we're doing, kind of an extension of what's happening here at the Two Regular Guys. And so we're going to be hanging out in booth 541 at the ISS Fort Worth show, and just kind of talking about it, trying to figure out what it is, what we can do to help, what we can do to raise the tide. So I'm really looking forward to that. And with that being said, I think we've covered it all. Amazing. Thank you so much to Kristine for hosting, to Andrea, to Kayla, to Alexa for their time today. Wonderful information. If you missed any of this, make sure that you get back and check it all out. Also, make sure you get over to our Facebook page at facebook.com/2regularguys. That way you can also see the video version if you're listening to the podcast version of this show right now. But go check out the video version, because I also want you to check out all the comments. The regulators were on fire as per usual. So we really appreciate that. I also want to thank our show producer, Eric Campbell, for his good work in the comments there today, and for all of his help. He makes Two Regular Guys happen for us. So we really appreciate him. You can check him out at ericcampbell.com. And we also want to thank our gold sponsor, Brilliance, and their family of products, and also our bronze sponsor, Ace Transfer Company. So make sure to check them both out. And let's see here. Next week is all I've got left for you. So next week, we are going to be talking about demystifying the bookkeeping process. We've got an expert. He's a CPA. I've actually had him over on my Small Business Saturdays program before, and Emil. But he's got a business called Anchor Bookkeeping, and it's an online bookkeeping service that I really think you guys should check out. But he's going to talk to us about it. You know, what do we need to do as a business to best make sure that we're managing our finances in a way that's going to make tax returns easier and all that stuff, and keep everything good. So definitely tune in next week, and we will have him on, same time, same place, all that good stuff. So until then, I am Aaron Montgomery, sitting in for Terry Combs. And again, thanks to all of the wonderful women who joined me today, and their time was very valuable. That's it for the Two Regular Guys. Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/2regularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, 2regularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.